Hi everyone, welcome to Cyber Monday. Joining me is my co-host, Mr. Dominic Vogel.
Always good to be here.
Good to have you here. Good to be here too. Today we're going to get into some cybersecurity topics with one another. We actually don't have a guest today, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but there's just some things that I think we would like to get off our chest today. You know, more and more companies have been reaching out to us.
Yeah.
Dominic, can you talk about why people are starting to reach out to us in increasing numbers?
Yeah, one of the interesting, I think, questions that, again, to your point, we get a lot of questions sent our way, some of which are just utter garbage, we disregard, but a common theme that we've been seeing is from people asking us, what is the trigger point that causes people, organizations, businesses to reach out to us? And after thinking about that, I was like, well, that's a really interesting question. What was that? Maybe there is a commonality. And when we dig down and look at sort of over the past year why businesses have reached out to us, there have been, I would say, two clear trigger points, both of which are, I would say, are reactive, maybe one more reactive than the other.
Right.
Not really proactive. I think that's something which we've talked about before.
Extensively.
Right? But from the from that picture, so one is after an adverse security incident. So that's a very polite way of saying after crap blows up. Whether that be ransomware, whether that be a data breach, whether that be some other type of significant security incident. It's after Rome has burnt to the ground, and so they reach out to us and saying, "This has happened. It was hell. We don't want it to happen again. What do we need to do?" So that I would say is obviously that's very reactive, but that still I would say is a significant factor in terms of causing organizations to reach out. The second one, which is I would say is also reactive, but not to the same extent, is tied more to significant business outcomes. So this is where we have organizations reach out to us saying, we're scared we're going to lose one of our big clients or one of our big contracts because big company A is clamping down on vendor risk management, and we've been asked to provide proof that we actually have a cybersecurity program.
We have to fill out a questionnaire.
Well, even one step further, some of them have said, we have filled out a questionnaire for years saying that we do all this stuff, but we actually don't. And it was because they were never really enforced. And now they were being told that they had to provide actionable proof that they were doing that. It's like, oh, crap, So that being, again, very reactive, but there's a very clear motivation with that one because of the significant business ramifications. If you can imagine, if you're a smaller mid-sized business, losing one of your big contracts because you don't have a cybersecurity program. So it's very interesting to see that over the past year or so. So I think that's the sort of what we're telling our viewers and listeners, that if those are similar trigger points, that may be a reason that you may want to reach out.
Yeah, and I think another reason would be to get a client and win a bid.
Yes.
But even more so, it seems like the threat of losing a big client is a way worse proposition than not getting a new one.
Yeah, losing what you have versus not getting what you could have, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the worst pain point?
No, and cybersecurity is such an interesting thing. And, we've talked about this extensively too. It's not what business owners wake up in the morning thinking about. They think about their business, they're thinking about their families, they're thinking about operations and their people and their customers. Cybersecurity is something that runs in the background, I think, most of the time for most businesses, and then it pops up at different times of the year, whether it be something that is reactive like a breach or something like awareness training on a proactive basis. So essentially, it's up to the organization whether they want to take a proactive approach or a reactive approach. That kind of segues into one of the myths that we see, or let's say a common belief, and it often comes up in the Cyber Monday episodes with the guests, and it rings true for everybody. So it's not just us that's hearing it. It's the experience of other cybersecurity professionals and business professionals, is that IT has got it covered. IT handles it.
We have an IT guy.
We have an IT guy, our IT department, IT managed service provider, whoever it may be. Why is that false? I mean,
It's
Why is that wrong?
it's I think that again that whole notion of that, or at least the illusion that there's one throat to choke. If something happens, there's a breach. Oh, we're just going to choke out the IT guy or whatever the IT team. But it's actually from a risk perspective and from a liability perspective, it's actually on the business owner, it's on the business leader, it's on the executive. If there's any throat that should be choked, it's their own, and they're missing the point on that.
But what about functionality too? I mean, you've got the IT function. What is that?
Yes.
And then the security function. What is that too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is IT the security function? Rhetorically asked to Dominic.
Yeah, and that's, I would say, another source of great confusion, in which it's seen as one and the same, in which cybersecurity is a technology function when it's really not. It's a core function of the overall business. Yes, there are, and we've talked about this before, there are operational aspects of cybersecurity which are intertwined with IT. IT, again, are those business systems that make the business run. The business doesn't operate, like I said, we've said this before, unless you're selling soap out of the back of your car, you have IT systems that you rely on, right? Even email, those are IT systems. So being able to make sure that and understand that there's what runs the business, those IT systems, and the cybersecurity function, there's it intertwines, but it's not one and the same.
So let's take that negative, myth, the negative reality out there, and in my opinion, a very dangerous, precarious position that they're in. Turn it positive. We interface when we're dealing with clients. We're interfacing with IT, and we're interfacing with business and different departments and different stakeholders. What does it look like to be healthy? Like, how do you start off on the right foot and everybody's comfortable with one another, all working towards the same mission? How do we all play together nicely and actually flow as a team?
It's almost like like you said there, that negative connotation. We rewiring the brain there to get that to see a positive aspect to that, in which yes, we're interfacing with IT. It's really about, if nothing else, augmenting what they do and providing clear guidance and oversight, so they know what cybersecurity operational functions it is that they should be focusing on. One of the biggest things that we see when we talk with, again, the quote-unquote business and IT is that both sides, even if they are talking to one another, they're not understanding one another. And where we're coming in there and being that bridge, so it's very clear in terms of what the business needs to be able to move forward and what IT needs to be able to know what they should prioritize and focus on. It's great to be able to serve as that conduit, because we hear that a lot from the misaligned IT team, is that we're just working on stuff which we think will help the business. We're not given clear guidance in terms of what, at least from a security perspective, what operational cybersecurity aspects we should even be prioritizing. Right? So I think that's something which is great, in which we're able to provide that. Like I said, that augmentation and that clarity. So both sides, at the end of the day, are winning, and there's greater harmonization. It's not an us versus them. It's like you were saying earlier, it's a we. And we're all in that together.
Well, let's look at what IT is and what cybersecurity is. Kind of separate them out before we put them together. We've often referred to it as keeping the lights on. So what is the goal of IT, right? Their goal is to set up and maintain and optimize information systems. However, whatever, fill in the blank, whatever you want to put there.
Your email, business systems, servers, what have you.
So that's what they live and breathe. That's what they're there to do. And that supports the business. What is cybersecurity over here? Well, it's information related. It's confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. So that's CIA. That's the existence. That's the purpose for cybersecurity. So these are different goals. These are different objectives. So what one has to realize as a business owner is that when the IT guy wakes up in the morning, or the IT team, they're not going confidentiality, availability, integrity of data, although maybe a little bit more on the availability side, but that's not what they're there to do. They may be doing what they do securely, but that's not their primary function. So we need to allow people to stay in their lane and also work together in a healthy way that actually helps your business. You don't want to throw away resources, misinvesting in a different direction.
Absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, the IT, often these IT teams, they want to have that guidance and to make sure they understand what it is those prioritized goals are. But it's, for a lot of organizations, there's just not that clear communication. And I think it's really wonderful in some of a lot of our good case studies where when things go right, it's when there ends up being that great clarity. So they truly understand what the business is, so they can focus accordingly. And in that way, that gets rid of a lot of the potentially adverse relationships, that us versus them mentality, and there's just greater unity. And that's magic for organizations.
It really is. And I think, a sort of a sub-myth that we talked about, I'm sorry to be a little bit negative, but I'll try to bring this back as positively as I can, as quickly as I can, is that not only is it just that IT handles cybersecurity, but it's a technology issue. Keeping in mind that the people components and having good processes in place are really, really key as well. Not forgetting and orphaning those two. That's right. Really important things. Cybersecurity to me is a really exciting topic because it can morph from different industries, from one industry to the next, and even within the same industry, it can look differently from one company to the next when you're dealing with different cultures and different market conditions. So it's different every time. Life has been a big adventure for you and I in our lives recently. So it's been fun, and look forward to the adventures that the rest of this year and beyond.
Hashtag fun times, right?
Fun times. Cybersecurity adventure. So thanks for watching. You can check out our other podcasts on conversationsthatmatter.tv. You can also find the Cyber Monday playlist on Conversations That Matter's YouTube channel. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we will see you next Monday.